right, we ready? Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Elvis Fans Matter. We got a few more questions we'd like to answer for everybody. And we'll start it off right quick like and end it right quick like. We'll start it off.
All right. Did Elvis like all of the guys' wives and girlfriends, or did he have any that he just wasn't fond of?
He had some he was not very fond of.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name any names, but you know who you are.
Yeah. And
most of them he liked, and he tolerated, all of them. But
did he have ever have any like arguments or fights with any of them? Any words between them?
But between the wives or girlfriends?
Yeah, like between Elvis and any of the guys' girlfriends or wives. Was there ever like an argument?
A one I can think of.
Okay.
But nothing that I want to talk about.
Right. Let's see.
So we better leave it at that.
Has there ever been a really big moment in your life after Elvis passed where you two might have looked at each other and said Elvis would have loved this?
Oh,
every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Or hear a song and say, boy, he could have sang the fool out of that.
Or see a car and say Elvis would have liked that.
Yeah.
Or the trikes that's out now, the big, what do you call them? The big.
Those big three-wheelers.
And those big old tank-looking, what do you call those? Cars?
Humvees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we compare everything. It's just, and I know people probably get sick of us saying it. It's not all about Elvis, but we compare. If we see something, Billy and I do, just immediately think about him.
Yeah.
And think about, who would like this, or who would think this is funny.
Yeah.
Or what he would say.
All right. Did Elvis know that Priscilla joined Scientology? Was she in Scientology before he passed away?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't think she
so.
was.
Okay.
But then again, I don't know for sure.
I don't know for sure.
I feel most surely, and this is just me thinking along the line of Elvis, he wouldn't have liked Scientology at all.
No. I mean, and that was part of the next question is how do you think he would, if he was alive, if he was alive and he knew that Lisa had been a part of Scientology, he would not have supported that.
She probably would not have been.
Yeah, I don't think if he knew anything about it, I think he'd have stopped it.
Mm-hmm. How competitive were the guys in the Memphis Mafia? How competitive were they at trying to get close to Elvis? I mean, was it ever like a cutthroat?
It was.
Sometimes.
It was.
Sometimes it was.
I said it was. No, I don't. Naturally, we all wanted to be, his best friend.
Close to him.
We had our closest to him, and
all the guys
I
got along.
don't think we would cut each other's throat in order to do it, But we.
Well, most of you wouldn't. Most of you wouldn't have. They were like family. They were like brothers. Just a group that was so close. You not being family that you really couldn't imagine. They whether they liked one of them a whole lot or not, they stood up for him. It was like a.
Yeah.
Do you ever recall Elvis getting nervous about any interviews that he had or any upcoming shows? Did he ever let on that he was nervous about it?
Well, some of the shows maybe, and
I think he was nervous at the outstanding
young men.
Men of the
He was
year.
nervous about that.
He was nervous about the speech he made or had to make.
And a lot of his shows, he nervous and
You can tell a lot in his voice. If he talked when he first came out on stage, you could tell in his voice. But I remember the one that he did, and he said, "We're filming this, and don't let that camera
don't
throw
let
you."
the camera throw you, and
don't
try not to throw the
it.
camera.
Yeah. And you could tell it was like a little quiver in his voice. But he overcame it as soon as he got the response of the audience.
Yeah.
Is it true that Elvis went into Anne Margaret's dressing room and confessed his love to her?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm just asking.
I don't know.
Why is your face
He
so
didn't-
red?
He didn't let me in.
Woo.
No, he never talked about that. If he did, it was between him and her, and he never would have said anything about it, you know.
Right.
You know, that was, you know, that's a personal thing. You don't talk about that.
Right.
So, as far as I know,
Okay. Did Elvis have any plastic surgeries?
Yeah.
yeah. He had one in '57, which I guess
No,
you'd
the
call it.
flares.
Yeah,
I just answered that, I think, on a...
He took a little flare out of his nose, and then, of course, in '75 he had a full facelift. That's about it. We talked about that once before.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that. It was at the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
After Elvis's shows, did he want to be alone to rest, or did he want to be with the guys? What was he like after his shows?
Different.
Different times, different.
Depending on
sometimes
how
it'd be
he
the
felt.
guys, and sometimes, you know, be alone. You know, him and
Whoever he's with.
Was it just from being tired, or just emotional from?
Yeah, just
from the
unwind
traveling,
emotionally,
unwind.
you know.
Yeah. Combination of probably a lot of things.
All right, I've saved the big one for the
Oh, man.
end.
Oh no.
The big one. Here comes the big one.
I'm bracing.
With everything that, you know, you went through, good and bad, and how your life was, if you were given the chance to go back to the beginning and do it all again, would you do it?
Yes, with the exception of a few changes, you know, I'd like to be made, but yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
But
A few things different.
yeah, it's what it-
Not a whole lot of things
not
different.
not a whole lot, but a few things.
Yeah, a few things different, but boy, we've talked about that a jillion times.
Yeah.
If we just had 40, if it was just 40 years before, or 50 years before, or
Yeah.
60, we could get on back and
Way on back.
we'd do it all over again.
If there was a particular time period with Elvis that you could go back to, just picking one time period, what would it be?
Later years for me,
Yeah.
70s.
I don't know. It'd be hard to say
Which
what, before I met Joe, during that time, 56, 57, when he was famous, or God, later years in the last, and I noticed you cut your eyes over at me. You just wondered what I was going to say.
yeah, before you met me, you'd go back then.
But no, I can't. I couldn't
just the
pinpoint.
time.
I couldn't pinpoint one particular time.
I could. It would be in the 70s, the last years, because to
Well,
be
yeah,
honest,
for you,
most
it
of
would
the early years were hell for me. not in a.
Oh,
not,
hell, you say.
Yeah, they were hard, and but I mean, not all bad, but especially when I was out there, you know, during the movie days, and when we lived with him, it was still hard because he demanded so much. You know, he demanded so much time, and he was a selfish person.
In a lot of ways.
And very selfish, especially in the early days. But in the later years, he mellowed out, and he was just he considered things, you know, more to me than he did in the early days. In the early days, it was like a tug of war.
Yeah.
What do you think made him change?
Just Lisa a lot. That for one thing, and just seeing things as he got older, and seeing you know, how understanding things that happened to him, that how it affected him, how it may affect somebody else, you know. And he couldn't stand for there to be any hurt or pain or anything like that. He wanted to fix everything in the later years. Well, he was like that in the early years too. But he just demanded more out of the guys that worked for him. And
Do you think he felt bad about that? Or do you think he even realized?
I think he did later in the later years,
Yeah,
because he
later
told me, you know, he said, you know, I know it was rough, but I'm gonna make up for everything. And he did. As long as he didn't try to, you know, pull one over on me, which he was very capable of doing. But he did some things that just I won't ever forget them. But that's like I say, doing a book. You know, you get started on thinking about all that, and it just gets you right there.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
But, you know, things are different now, and, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's
but
a different.
Going back, yeah, like I say, wouldn't that be something, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you could go back and change a few things.
Yeah, and knowing what you know.
And know
you know.
what you know now, be something.
Because we thought different back then. You
Maybe
know,
they'll have a time warp someday. People can go back, you know. And it probably, you know, if it was me and it's time warp, it'd warp my mind, and I wouldn't know what.
What do you mean would warp? It's already warped. It's already warped.
Old warp mind Bill.
We've been warped since the early days. See, that's a silly thing to say, but it's funny to us. That's because we're warp mind.
Yeah, that's because we are warp mind.
Home for the silly, that's us.
Well, that's it.
Is that all the
on
questions?
these questions,
Okay.
yep.
Well, we've enjoyed it, and
Hope you have.
Hope y'all have, and hope y'all continue to watch and subscribe to our channel, and tell your friends too, and we'll keep, you know, trying to come up with new Elvis stories as best we can, and hope y'all like them. And with that, all I can say is, what do we always say?
Elvis fans.
Elvis fans matter.